and guitarist vocalist Robert Smith spoke to Chris Bull. And first of all, Chris asked Robert about their new stage show.
It is completely new. It's rather overly ambitious, I think, judging by the past couple of days. It's sort of a series of moving screens. It's like based on the idea of theatre, of actually changing the depth of the stage and changing the colours. And we've got like ultraviolet painted backdrops and films and slides, and there's more lights under the stage.
And who was responsible for designing that?
It's still the same bloke, Mac, who's been with us for 3 years now. I mean, we just give him a rough set of songs that we're going to be playing in a tour, and we give him stage positions, and we just leave the rest of it up to him. I mean, it's the one area that we don't really get that involved in, because he knows the difference between taste and like over the top, gross out. So it looks really good. It's just that there's so much involved.
How does it all move about?
But it's all on these electric motors. You know, they all go up and down on electric motors. There's all people with headphones running about. It's really silly because it hasn't been worked out properly, and they keep sticking. You know, and they've got these things called thermal cutouts, and because they're not really designed for stage use with the amount of lights that we've got above the stage, so they heat up with the lights, you know, and then they just stop, you know, when the screen's halfway in front of the drum kit and things like that.
Does it put you off so far, or are you?
No, it's like the past 2 nights. The first night in Plymouth was really shaky. I mean, like first nights usually are. Yesterday night in Reading was really good, and it was really good fun. But it was almost like a light-hearted atmosphere in the audience, which was really unusual for us. And we sort of felt like that anyway, so it was almost like a party yesterday. It's really strange for us. It's 5 months since we played together.
So have you been recording the album for the last 5 months?
No, when we finished the British tour, we just decided to take a break for a couple of months, just like away from each other, really.
The Cure's been going for quite a long time now, and I've noticed you've done a lot of touring. You've been to a lot of places.
Yeah.
How did you fix up to play places like Australia relatively early on in your careers?
The main sort of link was between Chris Parry, who runs Fiction, that we're signed to. He's a New Zealander, and who was in a New Zealand band that had a #1 hit. I think it was a really awful record. But he had a lot of contacts in New Zealand, so a couple of years back he said, why don't we go and play New Zealand if we can guarantee the airfares, then we're not going to lose anything. It was the biggest grossing pub and club tour they'd ever had in the country. It just went on and on. They kept adding dates, and we went there for 5 days, and we stayed for about 3.5 weeks.
So you've got a new album coming out in England now, called Pornography. I noticed a few of the music papers have sort of expressed some sort of bewilderment as to the title. I mean, was there a reason?
It was to draw attention to it, although it doesn't actually deal with the subject of pornography in its accepted sense.
Is that, I know there's one track called Pornography, but
yeah.
Do the other tracks relate to it?
Not really, no, because that's why it's the first album we've done. I mean, that's why it's not at all like 17 Seconds of Faith, and it hasn't really got a theme running through it. It's got 8 songs in it, and they're all individual tracks. They all deal with different things, and they're produced in different ways, and the instruments are different. There's not really a thread of continuity that 17 Seconds of Faith has, apart from my voice, which always sounds the same.
Is it still just the 3 of you providing all the music?
Yeah.
You haven't sort of got any session anything?
No, we did. We went to we did the opposite actually. We sat down at the beginning when we went into the studio, and we just decided we had most of the lyrics. I'd written most of the lyrics for this album before we'd gone in, which was really unusual anyway. And we had like working titles for the songs, and what we did was we just sort of like looked through the lyrics and then thought about the titles and picked instruments that we couldn't play, that we thought would sound good, and then just messed about for about a week really. I mean, it was a real waste of time, because hardly anything actually went onto the record, although we got left over loads of tapes of some really...
What sort of instruments were they that you were experimenting with?
Just all things that we were hiring stuff, you know, every day we'd hire something different. I mean, conventional things like cellos and things like that, and also unconventional things like bell trees and sort of like and sitar and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's a really horrendous noise, a lot of it. Although some of it was really nice, it was really hypnotic because it was so simple, it was kept very simple. But we've decided against putting any of that on the record because it would have seemed like a very obvious step to get away from what people consider to be our niche. The actual sound is, we were consciously trying to get away from the Cure sound. You know, in a lot of the songs, the guitar's distorted and it doesn't sound sweet, you know, and the bass is much hollower than it has been in other records, and the drums sound really enormous. They sound like drums for the first time, but they recorded it just with ambient mics in a huge room. And so the whole album sounds much bigger, it's much less hi-fi. I mean, we virtually disregarded everything we'd learned to do with studio techniques over the previous 2 years, and we sort of started from scratch again.
Coming back to the new album, have you any plans to release a single of it?
No, we won't bother.
That's unusual, that, because most bands will put out a single to try and promote the album.
Yeah, I was much to the horror of everyone involved in the, you know, like the selling of the Cure side. But I just think that at the moment there's so many good singles around, so many good singles bands, I think. And I think that singles fulfil like a specific function. They're either using a really crass way, like say, of actually marketing an album, or they use this like as just like one-offs. And there's just other bands that do it far better than we ever could. And I don't really see the point in releasing another single that isn't going to get played on the radio. It's going to get into like the lower reach of the 30 and then like drop out because everyone knows we'll get it on the album. I'd like to write a single, like a proper single, like Boys Don't Cry Again. I keep thinking I must write one, but it won't come to me yet. Maybe soon.
What about, well, your first ever single was Killing an Arab. You ever thought of re-releasing that?
No, I never really liked that song that much. I liked 10:15 much better. I thought it was supposed to be a double A side, but people just picked up on Killing Arab because of the title. So we were listening to cheapness then, called Killing Arab, pornography. It's always been there.